they're gone. Welcome back. We planted the mulberry and the locust trees, plus some potting up. This is the last of the perennial planting videos for this fall. Funny how the mulberries lose their leaves. You swear they're dying. But no, that's what they do. They turn yellow and then turn brown and fall off like that. Going completely dormant now. I got a fish box container here. I'm going to take 10 of those and we're going to go up on the top flat and plant them, and then we'll decide what we're going to do after that. I don't know about how well the bed will work for that. I got a pretty big root system on it and it was going over to the side. It's a good job it's gone dormant, because that would have been quite the shock to that tree if that had not been going dormant. Alright. See, I've broken off some of the roots. Going to have to find a better way. I think the containers that I'm making with siding will be the way to go. And you see the big root that I broke off? That was off the first one, I think. No, I think it's off this one actually. No, up there. Big root come out of right here. That's what you want to get them up like. See, this one come up really well. 6. Look at how well these 2 black locusts done. This one and this one over here. Hopefully I can get them coming back without too much shock in the spring. But I did have quite a bit of trouble with some of them. There was 3 or 4 that came out pretty easy. And then the other, well, I guess that would be about 6 of them that I broke off roots. Well, we'll see what happens in the spring, right? We've got 10 of them put in here, and we'll go up and plant them and cross our fingers and hope that spring comes and they grow just fine. I use this tool, Matic it's called, and you see that wide end there. It's great because you can go around a circle and just chop a circle around, take the sod part off, and then loosen up the soil underneath. Now I have that done with 10 holes. Because the trees, a lot of them, most of the soil fell off them, I'm going to shovel out now the loosened soil out of the hole and put in this bucket, so it's easier for me to put the soil back around the tree roots. Now I got the hole dug out. Of course, these roots that were just extending off initially are going to have to be curled in now. You see, the ideal is the original soil level was right there. So to have the tree planted at the original level, so I can hold it up, I got to dug deeper than the main root ball and throw the soil down around it, and that'll make those loose roots down the bottom. At least soil will be getting in around those as I hold it like this and just throw soil down there. Now that I got it standing up, I can take the bucket and speed things up for myself. Just like so. This time I brought up some stakes to put around it. Because the soil is soft, they'll just go right in. I don't really need them as a point. Now, if that tree survives, it should come back really beautiful next year. This area was a potato field, and it was used many times for growing mainly potatoes. I think maybe rutabaga was growing here as well. And while it is very rocky, that soil in among the rocks does have quite a bit of fertility. So I'm hoping that it's going to grow good. As I said, it used to be a potato field, so because of that, it's actually quite easy to dig the hole fairly deep. I'll just spin this one as I'm putting them down there. I even got a little sign with this one. I'm going to push that bit back around there. I have a couple that I might need to add extra soil for. We'll see when we get there. They're planting well. I'll just go ahead and do the other 8 now, and I'll show you what I got. Getting clouder out. I don't know how easy it is to tell. Let me see if I can point them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, in between those two there's one that you can't really see right there. I measured how deep I was digging the holes. So the holes are 30 centimeters, 12 inches deep. And the ones that had the long roots, I just twirled them around, and I held them up, of course, while I was shaking the soil down in there, so the soil could just flow down around the loose roots. And then I firmed it down after I got everything in. So over on this side now we've got that one, this one here, yeah, this one here, and this one up here is in the best soil actually, but he is also the smallest one. See, and you only got one leaf left on him. So you see, I got the birch that I'm going to attempt to make into cabinet grade lumber. So that's what all this birch is. And I had to clear a couple other trees to get the birch out. But I'm planning on planting a couple of trees here. I don't know what exactly I'm going to plant here yet. Got to think about it. That stump there, I left that high, because what I'm going to try to do is actually cut the big roots that are near the surface and see if I can turn it out. I'm looking into things that might make a good woodworking project, you see, so things don't get cut down like a normal person. I'm going to move the black locust now. I think the little small one, so I have a couple really small black locusts, and then I have that 5 or 6 honey locusts. I'm going to put them in those pots and let them grow on a little bigger. But these I can move up above. I have to be careful because there's thorns on these. Now, so just in reading about them, because I wanted to find out what exactly the size and spread, right? This is typical of black locust. It has a fibrous root system that spreads out. It's in the pea family, so it's a nitrogen fixer. But it has lots of roots that spread out near the surface, and they can sucker as well. One thing about the fibrous root system like that is that you can really grab onto them and just yank them out, and plunk them down somewhere else when they're still small. Now, these things get to be like 80 feet tall and 2 feet across. They can actually get 3 feet across at the trunk. So getting rid of them then, good luck with that. However, you could cut down the main trunk and then keep coppicing the shoots. So I think it's a good tree for that purpose. You just need to keep it somewhere where it can't get invasive, because in some places it can get invasive. Oh, this one didn't have much of a root system. He'll be easier to plant again. That's 3. I have 4 spaces for them right now. But there is room up there for another one. Just wondering if I want to take this one here, and then I just have one that I need to plant up into the other pot. I think I will. I think they're going to do good where I'm going to plant them. We'll take these 5, and I'm going to carry them, so I'm going to have to turn off the camera, and as I begin to carry them up, I noticed something that I don't know if very many people have seen before. But the pea plant, nitrogen fixers, they have these nodules on the roots. You see those lumps? And over here, that's nitrogen fixing nodules. It's actually the first time I've seen them, so I decided that it would be a good idea to let you see those. Now this one has a fairly extensive root system. I'm going to plant it right there where I have the leaves kicked away. The question though is, should I spread out the roots the way that they were? Basically they're going in one direction. Plant the tree here and dig away so that the roots can go over that way. I think that's a good idea. Something like that. This is actually a forest floor. It's fairly fertile soil, so they should grow good. They are protected from the worst of the wind as they're young, and they got lots of sun from the south, because these are actually not the shade tolerant trees, so they should grow very well here. But like I did with the mulberries, I'll plant them out and then show you it afterwards, because well, mulberries wasn't too difficult, but here it's going to be a little bit of a fuss getting the hole just right to get them planted. Sandy loam. That's the recommendations for these things. That's the second one there. See, I planted the first one over there. He's 15 feet from the fence line. Then 10 feet over, plant the second one. Then another 10 feet, third one. 10 feet down from that one. This is the smallest one. And then 10 feet down from the middle one is the second smallest one. That is in where the birch was. These are supposed to be fairly fast growing, so I'm excited to get them to the point where I can start coppicing to get some woodworking wood. According to the weather guessers, this November the 7th is going to be the last day that's warm enough that anybody would want to be out doing any real gardening work. As I go doing these videos, really I'm making my decisions as I go, and so you guys get to hear what I'm thinking about. And I've decided to plant these honey locusts out. I'll take them up and put them in this bucket, and then we'll move to the next location to where I'm going to plant them. Okay, there they are. I have 7 honey locusts there. We're up on the top hill. Well, not top hill, up on just over the ridge from the garden. The garden is down right there. Then we got the slope, and we're walking along just at the turn of the slope. I've been cutting some more firewood. I think I mentioned in another video about this pine. Looked like it was fairly healthy, but the chainsaw went through it just like butter. And this lighter part, that was the side that was dying. The darker part was still alive. And we didn't have to go up very far. See, it's all gone away to nothing there. This is an injury, a bug injury, and all of this grey stuff, that's from sap that was running out. So some kind of bug got in there and killed that one side. But now when we go up this healthy side, and this here is really not very good wood at all. I mean, it'll do for firewood, but that's about it. So it looks like the other side was slowly dying. Then I cut down some spruce and a birch over there. But anyway, back to planting the honey locust. I think I'll get one as close to where I cut down this pine as possible. And I'll plant them every 10 feet across here. Honey locusts can get up to 70-foot spread. But in keeping with following nature and wanting to have a garden disguised as a forest, then that's why I'm planting all my trees. I had about a 10-foot spacing, 15-foot spacing. And you see all these little spruce seedlings here. I don't want to cut them down right away because it's a waste of a carbon sink and future possible mulch that I can chip up. They might get big enough for some woodworking or firewood before I have to cut them down. So I'll start here where we're standing, and I'll head toward that. This is actually 2 trees that grew right tight together. It's not a divided tree. We'll head toward that. And then probably just on the outside, heading toward just the outside of that spruce tree right there. That's in the center of the screen now. Of course, we don't know how hard this is going to be until we start to dig. Hey, I don't need a very big hole because the root system on them, well, the trees themselves, are not very big, eh? Well, this hole is going to be easy. And the soil seems to be nice here. Now take one out. Okay, I need to make the hole a little bit deeper. just like that. Now, to give them a better start, see, this is what I thought about. I mentioned about planting them in planters to go a little further. But I got this bucket of compost here, and if I just put them in with a bunch of compost like this, then they all should have a good head start before they really have to fend for themselves come next spring. Don't have the stakes here with me right now. I'll come back with the stakes and put a set of stakes around them. And what I'm doing here now, I'm going to take this fourth floor humus that was here before and just put on top here. That'll replace, it'll have a nice fungal mat around it right away. Just like that, and we just go 10 feet over there and plant another one. So we'll start on the far end now. I got this edge of the embankment done the way my original plan was. You see, there's the cellar right there. It's a knotty old spruce there that's come down. Here's another birch that's slowly falling over. And that one that's right tight to the corner of the cellar has come down. But I've got a beautiful spruce sapling here. And there's another one just up from the cellar. And then 10 feet over, I've got my first honey locust. And when I got here, I realized I only had 2, right? And here's another beautiful, I think this is fir. Wait a second here. Yeah, that's fir. This is a beautiful fir sapling there. And then another 10 feet over, I put the smallest of the honey locusts right there. And they're not in a straight line, they're kind of following the stumps and tree lines of nature, right? Again, in keeping of trying to make a garden disguised as a forest. I got one put right here. And we're going down now around this one. I'm going to cut down this couple right here for firewood. Hopefully I don't hurt that little sapling, let that grow on some until I need to get it out of the way of this honey locust that I put here. And then coming across, I've got a couple of beautiful, that's a fir. A lot of them are just fir. There's a lot of fir growing up here, it seems. Those 2 are fir as well. Those down there are spruce. Just on the other side of this double tree here, which is going to be firewood, I've got another honey locust. And then one there. And one there. That shall be all fine. There's a dead part of that clump of birch there that needs to come down, but for the most part I think I'm going to leave that birch. There's a couple of pine down there that's going to stay, but then of course when you get up here I got to wander through and decide as things grow up what I'm going to thin out, and the forest should grow back beautifully. I think I am kind of getting happy with this. See, I have some very large knotty spruce. I don't know what they're like inside. You'll have to wait until I cut down. But if they're fairly solid, I've got some real nice woodworking projects to do. And, well, I got a couple of things I want to make for the house. But then I'll probably make some things to sell. What I'd really like to be able to do is get right down, cut that off right at ground level, but you need an awful big chainsaw to do that. I was walking around by the Russian mulberry, and I'm going to bring the rest of these red mulberries up and plant among them. I have the one black locust right there. I'm going to bring that up and plant with the other black locust. This I'm still humming and awing about, so it's probably going to stay there for a while. Now this is what I've decided. I was watching Edible Acres. I watched quite a few of his videos, and he makes a bed, what he calls a hair prune bed, so that the roots of his trees only go down so far and then they stop growing at the base. I kind of wanted to do that, but as you might already know, I don't like taking up the plants and disentangling their roots, but the roots of adjacent plants is all tangled together. What I decided, I have just this is 2 pieces of siding I got put down here, and this is those rings of siding that I've been making. So the roots of these shrubs, they'll just go down to the bottom of this, and then they'll start to fill out just inside here. The other thing I just thought about was that, you see, these dry out quickly, and this is not a full bed width. It's just that if I make 3 rows, then the ones in the center will be hard to get out if I want to get one from the center. So if I put a row of mulch, just loose mulch like this, around the edge, I can still get in at them, and this will prevent them from, well, not prevent them, this will slow down the drying out because it'll keep the soil a little cooler. And I will put meadow clippings mulch on top like I do with everything else. So I'm going to put that all the way around. Then we'll have kind of like the beds that Edible Acres have, but each plant will be in its own container. I put the 2 smallest of the red mulberry in here, and then these are the male sea berry, so there's 7, and those down there with the sticks in them, they are female sea berry. I've got a bunch of stakes in the house now. When it's dark in the evenings, I'm going to be in the house making signs for all of my perennials. So the plan is that I'll have 2 rows, a space to walk between, and another 2 rows, because I'll have the sprinkler up here, see? I don't know how many tree seeds I'm going to buy this year, but for every variety of trees I got, I will start 5 seedlings in the spring, and I'll put them out here. The following year I'll start another 5, and everything I got growing, they'll be out for sale. But whenever I got an area prepared on my property to put in a tree or shrub, whatever, I will take one from here and plant it. That's a plan, and hopefully I'll be able to earn some money along with planting trees and shrubs around the property. Now, what did we plant? We had 24 red mulberry. We had 6 Osage orange, 7 honey locusts, 6 black locusts. That brings us to 43. 2 of the red mulberry we put into pots, so we actually only planted out 41 trees. And we planted 1 male sea berry where it's supposed to go. We also moved the 2 blueberry bushes and the cranberry ground cover, as well as planting up the rest of the sea berry and the 2 small red mulberry. Hope you enjoyed this one, and hope you'll come back for more. I'll see you in the next video.